Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to look at cloud security solutions, especially as they're framed out in Gartner's hype cycle. Now, Gartner has just released a new hype cycle for cloud security solutions, so this is a great time to take a look at how they grade the progression of these solutions. Hi, I'm Steve Murphy. I'm a vice president at ARG, and while I work for ARG, this video is my own and doesn't necessarily reflect the views and opinions of my employer. This channel is all about helping IT leaders make great technology decisions. So let's take a look at Gartner's hype cycle model. If you're not familiar with Gartner's hype cycle framework, this is what it looks like for all of the product categories that they track. The vertical axis measures expectations, whether or not the industry believes that a solution will be successful and will provide value. The horizontal axis measures time. I actually like to also include utility here, because over time utility tends to increase, and it's easier to think about these solutions not necessarily in the span of time, but in the amount of utility that they provide to consumers and end users of the product. So the hype cycle begins with an innovation trigger. What's the big idea? And rises to something referred to as the peak of inflated expectation. This is when the media has jumped on board, buzzwords are being created, and all of the manufacturers or all the providers in a space are all clustering around this one solution, primarily because of the level of buzz and the level of conversation around it, even though their products and solutions might not yet be a perfect fit for the problem at hand. And that results in us dropping down into a trough of disillusionment. Early adopters who purchased or invested at the peak of inflated expectations were hoping for fully matured products. What they realized was they got a work in progress. They're disillusioned by that work in progress, but the providers are creating much more value or improving their products based upon those early adopters' experiences. And that leads us to a slope of enlightenment, where people begin to understand how to utilize the products, and the product manufacturers or the solution providers make substantial improvements to their products based upon those early experiences, and actually start delivering the value that was promised in that early peak of inflated expectations. And then the Gartner hype cycle framework leads us into a plateau of productivity. This is a mature solution where approximately 30% of the market might have already adopted the solution, and it's delivering a strong value proposition and leading to productive workflows. So now that we're familiar with the hype cycle in general, let's take a look at the cloud security hype cycle published in September of 2021. Again, we have that standard curve. We have an innovation trigger at the beginning leading to peak of inflated expectations, dropping down into a trough of disillusionment. We have a slope of enlightenment and a productivity plateau. Now, within this cycle, you can see over 20 solutions listed here by Gartner. They also provide a time frame. The color of the pinpoint on the curve will indicate the amount of time that the product should take to reach a plateau of productivity. So we have applications like cloud application discovery all the way to the right in that plateau of productivity. And we have some other elements here that we've talked about in some other videos, such as CASB, which is very close to peaking out in terms of the plateau of productivity. We have zero trust network access. I think this is a solution provider element or solution provider's solution here, rather than people creating their own zero trust environment. As we've spoken about in other videos, you can buy a zero trust solution, or you can do it yourself with the tooling you probably already have. Very hard to do it yourself, but possible, and you really don't need to increase your overall cost structure to do so. But if you want to leapfrog your zero trust environment, you can buy a solution to get you there. And I think this is where Gartner is putting the zero trust solution providers, because they are relatively mature, building into that slope of enlightenment in Gartner's opinion. Another interesting element here is SASE, way up almost at the peak of the inflated expectations curve. Now, this is true and accurate. We've talked about in our SASE videos that SASE is still a relatively immature framework, and people are working to realize the value of SASE on a very short time frame. In fact, Gartner here has that pinpoint as a blue for SASE, which means that in just 2 to 5 years, they expect that to be in the plateau of productivity. So what we've told our customers, as I've mentioned in other videos, is you're not going to be able to get all of the SASE products, all the SASE features in one solution at this moment. But what you do want to do is, if you have a need, or if you're looking at renewing a current point solution, take a look at the SASE strategy of the potential vendors you're evaluating and consider what additional services they are building and they're beginning to offer and how those fit into your future roadmap in terms of your security posture, and weight that with your overall decision. We suggest our clients go with solution providers that have a very strong SASE strategy, but not necessarily overbuy in the process, not necessarily purchase solutions that they don't yet require or accelerate their roadmap unnecessarily. Do it methodically, do it intelligently, and you'll be able to capture some of these elements like CASB and Zero Trust Network Access, or Identity and Access Management, which is down here in just almost at the bottom of the trough of disillusionment, but just about to enter the slope of enlightenment. You can accelerate with some more mature solutions a SASE strategy without necessarily trying to capture all of the benefits of SASE at one moment. It's not going to happen, and as you can see, based upon Gartner's evaluation, they still think that there's a lot of inflated expectations. I will say Gartner had a deployment model, or issued a paper back in the spring of this year, spring of 2021, which talked about how people need to think about deploying SASE. And essentially they've said the same thing that we tell our clients, and we've been telling our clients for years. Do it as quickly as possible, but do it smartly and don't get ahead of the development of your SASE providers. So what I think we're going to do in some videos in the future, since we have over 20 cloud security solutions here, we're going to go through and unpack some of these individual solutions. There's a considerable amount of overlap in these solutions, and so understanding the individual use cases, understanding the scenarios in which these solutions are warranted, we think would be a good value to our subscribers. If you have an interest or a question about what we should do moving forward in terms of reviewing some of these solutions, I'd be happy to get a comment from you, and we can talk about how to prioritize some of these solutions. Or if you want to reach out and have a conversation on any of these solutions or other security or other just general IT topics that we cover on this channel, feel free to reach out for a conversation. My contact information is in the description of this video, and I'm happy to have an ongoing conversation and understand your specific wants and needs. If you got some value out of this video, I'd very much appreciate a thumbs up. That helps my video get exposed to more potential viewers. And if you want to find your way back to this channel and see some of this content where we unpack some of these cloud security solutions, the best way of doing that is by hitting that subscribe button. That will put my videos in your feed and you can come back at your convenience. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.